They made him crawl, right there on the hot pavement, in front of his teenage son, in front of neighbors, strangers, cell phones recording. All because he had a broken taillight and brown skin in the wrong neighborhood. But what that officer didn't know, what no one knew that night, was that the man they humiliated had just been secretly nominated to become the city's next chief of police. This isn't just a story of humiliation. It's the story of what happens when truth rises from the dirt. They tried to bury it in. Elijah Miles was 42 years old, black, composed and quiet, the kind of man who didn't speak unless it mattered. Raised in the East Side by a single mother, he watched her struggle after his father was wrongfully imprisoned by officers who laughed while they did it. Elijah became a cop, not to carry a badge, but to make sure no child saw what he saw, to change things from the inside. But change came at a cost. 10 years ago, he exposed a bribery ring in his own department. He was labeled a traitor, pushed out, blackballed quietly. So he left, not defeated, just patient. Friday evening, 9:12 p.m. Elijah was driving his son, Micah, home from basketball practice. Micah was in the front seat, sweaty, smiling. They were laughing about missed free throws and how Elijah had no jump shot. Then the red and blue. A cruiser pulled behind them. Lights flashing, no siren. Officer Brad Kessler, white, 27, walked up with his hand already near his gun. "You fit the description," he said. Elijah handed over his ID, his registration, even showed his expired police badge. But Kessler wasn't looking for facts. He was looking for fear. "Step out the vehicle. Hands up. On the ground. Crawl to me," Micah screamed. Elijah's knees hit the concrete. His palms burned. The phones came out. The city watched. By sunrise, the video had over 2 million views. Hashtag Crawl for Justice was trending. TV news anchors said, "A former cop, now a victim of police profiling." Protesters rallied. Some called for Officer Kessler's badge. Others defended him. Elijah stayed silent. He told no one that he had received a call from the mayor just 3 days before. A call that would change everything. The mayor had chosen Elijah to become the next chief of police. It was supposed to be announced in 2 weeks. A reformer's choice. A gamble. A hope. But now, Elijah's face was on every screen. The man who'd been made to crawl was being handed the highest badge in the city. And behind that, an even deeper irony, Brad Kessler's precinct was the very one Elijah would soon lead. Elijah didn't want the job anymore. He didn't want to be the face of a system that put his son through that fear. Micah begged him to turn it down. "They'll never respect you, Dad. They'll just wait to destroy you." But community leaders knocked on his door. Mothers, fathers, kids. "You have to take it, Elijah, because you lived it and survived." So Elijah said yes, but only if the city launched a full investigation into what happened that night. Internal Affairs opened the case. Body cam footage contradicted Kessler's report. Turns out, Kessler knew Elijah's name because his brother, Troy Kessler, had been the officer Elijah exposed a decade ago. This wasn't about a taillight. This was revenge, served cold and under the guise of a traffic stop. Elijah brought it to the mayor. The mayor brought it to the press. Brad Kessler was suspended, then indicted. On the steps of City Hall, Elijah took the oath. He didn't wear the usual smile. He wore a scar, a quiet knowing. In his speech, he never named Brad. He didn't need to. He said this instead: "No child should ever have to watch their parent crawl for dignity. So today I take this badge, not as a symbol of power, but as a promise that no one will be made small in this city again." Elijah's first week as chief was met with resistance. Some officers transferred. Others turned silent. An unmarked envelope was left on his desk. No return address. Inside, a photo. A photo of Troy Kessler, Brad's brother, standing beside a shadowy group of private contractors. Written across it in red ink, "You destroyed my family. Now I'll dismantle yours." The war wasn't over. It had just changed uniforms. Some scars are visible, some burn silently beneath the skin. Elijah never asked for revenge. He only asked for peace. But in a system where justice whispers and power shouts, it takes a quiet man to echo the loudest. They made him crawl, but in the end, he rose higher than they ever dreamed. This is Traces of Truth. He thought the badge would bring peace. He thought the truth would silence the ghosts. But justice isn't a destination. It's a battlefield, and the scars it leaves don't always heal. That envelope wasn't just a threat. It was a blueprint. Inside it, Elijah found something else. A list. Names. Addresses. Micah's. Even his late mother's. And one final message, scrawled in handwriting he hadn't seen in over a decade. I warned you back then. Now the real war begins. Elijah looked out his window. Across the street, a black SUV, engine running. No plates. No driver in sight. And then, his phone rang. Blocked number. He picked it up. A voice, familiar. Distorted. You think the badge makes you untouchable? You forgot who trained you. Elijah doesn't sleep that night. Micah stays at his grandmother's. Elijah watches the street, hand on his service pistol, eyes tracking every shadow. The next morning, he calls in a favor from his old academy partner, Captain Lewis Grant, now working private security. Lewis shows him the envelope. Think, the signature. He freezes. This wasn't just a threat, Eli. It's his handwriting. It's Commander Duval. The academy, 20 years ago. Elijah is a cadet. Commander Duval is his mentor. A white man. Charismatic. Disciplined. Respected by everyone. But Duval had a second life. A secret circle inside the department. Known only as the Chain. A silent brotherhood of officers who pulled strings, covered crimes, and eliminated anyone who got in the way. Elijah left before he was initiated, and Duval never forgot the betrayal. Back in the present, Elijah finds signs that Duval is back. Disguised under a consulting firm, Duval is training private contractors and embedding them in city infrastructure, schools, hospitals, court security. One of them? The man parked outside Elijah's house. Another? Micah's substitute teacher. They've already gotten inside. Elijah's team uncovers an old security tape, sealed in evidence. Footage from 2003, from a precinct raid he was never supposed to see. The video? A young Elijah confronting Duval, shouting about missing arrest reports, planted evidence, and cover-ups. In the corner of the screen, another officer appears, Troy Kessler, Brad's older brother. It wasn't just personal. It was engineered. The call comes through during a press briefing. Micah didn't show up to school. His phone's dead. His location, last pinged near an old station, the one Elijah shut down last month for corruption. Lewis grabs his gear. Elijah grabs his badge. This time, he's not asking for permission. Elijah and Lewis arrive at the abandoned precinct. It's dark. Quiet. Too quiet. They enter slowly. A walkie left on a desk hisses static. Then, Duval's voice. You turned your back on the Chain. Now you'll crawl again, Chief. Only this time, your boy watches from the dark. Gunshots. Lights go out. Micah screams. Elijah runs. Finds a locked door. Behind it, Micah. Bound, crying. A pressure-triggered tripwire inches from his foot. Elijah freezes. One wrong move, and everything ends. Duval appears. Not a ghost. Older, but venomous. You thought this was about revenge? This is about removal. You don't belong here, Elijah. You never did. Elijah lowers his weapon. Hands raised. He speaks with calm authority. You trained me, Duval. But I unlearned everything you taught. You built the Chain. But I've come to cut it. Micah blinks twice. Lewis bursts through the ceiling hatch. Shoots the sensor. Trap disarmed. Duval lunges. But Elijah hits him with a single punch. Badge on his chest gleaming in the flickering light. Duval is arrested. But as he's dragged out, he smiles. You think I'm the only one? You've only seen the surface, Chief. The chain has deeper roots than you know. Later that night, Elijah receives a new file. No name, just a map, with City Hall circled in red. The deeper he goes, the more lies he uncovers, and the closer the danger creeps, to the place where laws are written and justice is sold. They tried to bury him, strip him of power, silence his voice. But Elijah Miles had one thing left they couldn't take: the truth. And this time, he was ready to die for it. Elijah stares at the crumpled paper from Duval's cell. A red circle drawn over City Hall. Beneath it, 2 words: Carter. Files. He recognizes the name. Janine Carter, deputy mayor, his former college classmate, and, briefly, a trusted friend. Elijah visits her. She pretends everything is normal, but her hand trembles when he shows her the map. "You need to leave this alone, Eli." She whispers. "They're not finished. They're just getting started." A USB drive arrives anonymously at Elijah's office. Encrypted. Inside, recordings, emails, bank transfers, documents proving the chain isn't just a group of rogue cops. It's a citywide system. Politicians, judges, prosecutors, even media heads, silencing voices, framing innocence, controlling elections. And the source of the leak? Officer Nadine Banks, an internal affairs investigator, now missing, presumed dead. Elijah realizes the corruption has infected every level. His press briefings are canceled. The mayor refuses to meet him, and then Micah is suspended from school for a disciplinary issue that never happened. One by one, Elijah's allies disappear. His second-in-command is transferred. Captain Lewis is placed under investigation. He's alone. But this time, he records everything. Elijah hacks the department's internal server. With Lewis' help, they broadcast live to the public. A 10-minute video titled, "The Chain is Real." He lays out every file, every cover-up, names, dates, crimes, payouts. And finally, one last piece. A video of Janine Carter on a call, authorizing Duval's release before his arrest. The video goes viral in minutes. The mayor calls for his immediate resignation. But Elijah smiles. That was the plan. That night, Elijah walks into City Hall. Not with a badge, but with a wire. With reporters waiting outside. With the FBI already in position. Inside, Janine waits, surrounded by men in suits. She's calm, cold. "You really think the people care about the truth? They forget. They move on. We run this city, not you." She signs a document authorizing Elijah's firing. He slides a second document across the table. A federal warrant. The room goes still. The FBI storms in. And the chain finally breaks. Elijah is no longer chief, but he teaches now law and ethics at the same academy where he once stood trembling as a cadet. Micah is older, still healing, but he's starting a new club, Young Truth Seekers. The city is scarred but watching, because one man refused to crawl again. As Elijah ends his lecture, a student raises her hand. What would you say to someone who wants to speak up, but is afraid? He pauses, looks out the window, then at his badge, now in a glass frame. "I'd say speak anyway, because silence is where monsters grow." Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like and share for more chilling stories.